All right, I have not recorded in a while. I'm emotionally recuperating from the crash of Bitcoin and the bear market and trying to figure out what my next strategy is. I haven't had what I would consider really successful trades in a little while. So I've been watching a couple of tutorials and some people that I think have good strategies and trying to work them into my own. What I'm finding is I was trying to do what is kind of considered scalp trading or scalping. You'll see that if you search for it a lot on YouTube. There's several different people that have several different strategies. They all seem, for the most part, fairly good. No one strategy is going to be perfect. It's never advised that you follow those to a T. Even anything I'm talking about here, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the best strategy is. However, one thing that I'm still not good at is sticking to a strategy and really fully testing it, and getting it to a point to where I rely more on the strategy and less on the emotion. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the strategy I'm testing, and I'll probably do another video in a few days or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. As I'm testing this theory and the way I want to scalp trade. So let me kind of go through what you're seeing on screen. So what I like to do is try to trade on shorter time frames, and again I use an indicator that is a paid indicator called Market Cypher. There's link in the description for that if you're interested in giving it a try. I don't think they have a free trial. It is a paid indicator, but if you've never used it before, do some searching. It's amazing. It's a really good tool if you learn how to use it. And quite frankly, worth the investment in my opinion. I went ahead and paid the lifetime license for it. So click that link, check it out. If you end up purchasing it, please use my link below. That I would really appreciate that. So anyway, Market Cypher I have open, and the scalping strategy I'm looking to use. Let me kind of flip over here and look at my trade. So I am a little bit in the red. That's okay. I'm still gonna kind of hold to the strategy. Hopefully it'll keep true, if you will. So there is a free indicator that I do have turned on that I'll talk about, and it's just an extra validation signal for me while using Market Cypher. So as you can see on Market Cypher, let's see, this one's Market Cypher SR. So up here, if you have Market Cypher SR turned on, what I've done is I've gone into the settings, and the three settings that I want turned on are the Cypher resistance, the Cypher support, and the VWAP. So, and I didn't change any of the defaults over here, okay? So that's indicator number one on Market Cypher that I'm using. So the VWAP is going to be this line right here, okay? I don't know a lot about technically what a VWAP is and why you would want it on. Just through some research, this is part of the strategy that I'm choosing to test. So the second thing, and then those resistance lines are these what we call spider lines or dotted lines here. You could change these to be solid lines if you want. I prefer the dotted lines. So these on the different time frames will draw what it thinks are good support and resistance. So I changed the colors to green for support and orange for resistance. So that'll give you a good visual understanding of where your entry points could be, whether you're in a short or a long. So right now I'm in a short, and like I said, I'm a little bit negative right now, but I've already taken profit once. That's another thing that I'm really bad at, is I don't take profits often enough. So what I'm trying to do is trade on the 15-minute time frame using this strategy. This should work on the 5-minute, on the 1 hour, on any time frame you want, but for scalp trading, typically you want to do that. It's really on the shorter time frames. So now that I have the VWAP turned on and the support and resistance lines, the other thing that you'll notice is down below, I have kind of a dumbed down, or not a dumbed down, but I turned off some of the indicators on Market Cypher B. So if you have Market Cypher B turned on, what you're going to do is select Market Cypher B, and then you're going to go into the settings. So I turned off the VWAP, I turned off the RSI, and I left everything else on. So I'm gonna just like stop here for a second, kind of scroll through this, and you can pause the video and if you want to make yours look exactly like mine. The other thing that I like to have on as another indicator to look at is the Wolfpack indicator. It comes with Market Cypher. If you need to find it, you can go up to your scripts up here, or your indicators up here, and you can search for Wolfpack. And it should show up, right? And just turn that on as well. The Wolfpack indicator is this guy down here below, okay? So Wolfpack indicator, your momentum waves are turned on. So the green and red dots surprisingly aren't needed, but I also like to have those on just as a visual reference of what's going on with the momentum wave. I like to know whether it's headed for a downtrend, if I'm going to be shorting, or if it's going for an uptrend, if I'm longing. But the strategy doesn't really require the red and green dots up here. So just know that. I just usually use them as confirmation. All right, so what's the strategy? I've talked enough about the indicator. I think we have everything turned on that we need. Oh, the other thing, like I said, the free indicator that I do use, that I also turn on, that it's not part of Market Cypher, is this range filter buy and sell indicator. So you can search for this guy right here in the scripts. There's a whole bunch of them. I just searched for a buy and sell signal filter, and I picked the one that had the best reviews, and it was free. So I turned that on as well. I'm gonna try to highlight it here and look for this username whenever you search for it, and you'll know you have the right one. And this shows like how many reviews it actually has. So that's where I'm getting these little buy and sell signals on the various time frames. You'll notice if I switch to 5-minute, the sell signal and the buy signal is a little bit different than on the 15-minute. You'll see a buy signal. Those, I wouldn't trade those, but I would use those as confirmation as well. When you get a good sell signal coupled with everything else I'm going to talk about, you can be very confident that it is headed in that direction, so whether it's a sell or a buy. So now onto the strategy. What we're going to do is we are going to look at the RSI indicator. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. Hold on. No, the VWAP, sorry. So we're going to look at the VWAP. And we're going to pay attention to these support and resistance lines. So I also put, this is the trade that I'm actually in right now. And visually, I wanted you guys to kind of see this and pay attention to, this is the actual trade, this box. The center line here is where I entered the trade. Here's where I want to ultimately take most of my profit. Like I said, I've already taken a little bit of profit just to be on the safe side. You're not going to win every trade, but this is pretty good strategy. Like, you're going to win more often than not, hopefully. So where I entered the trade was right around 27.51. Okay, that's around the trade. Now, why did I enter at that price? You can see I'm kind of in the negative right now, but that's okay. So this support line right here, as I got this sell signal, two things happen. I kind of look at this support line and I try to look at the last candle that closed, in this case, below the support resistance line here, and it also closed below this ribbon here. So as long as you've gotten both of these, this candle closing below this indicator and below the resistance, right? The other thing you need to look for is the momentum wave typically has crossed below this center line in the case of shorting. So, you know, right around here where this vertical dotted line is that my cursor is creating, this momentum wave had crossed below, and also the candle had closed completely below, and it had also closed below this ribbon, right? So that is a really good indication that the momentum is still going to trend downward. So I put my my entry point in at 27.50. So the other thing that you can typically count on is if you can draw another support and resistance line and see where people were buying and selling, in this case here, and right here was kind of a top, but it was also a support and resistance line here, then that is going to be my target for taking my first profit, or if I want to take all of the profit there, if I want to be in a really short trade. So the next support and resistance line could be right around here in this area. Market Cypher is suggesting that the line would be below these candles, but if you wanted to kind of guarantee a good exit from the trade, you're going to want to start taking another round of profits around 2,500 if the momentum continues to go down. So first line I wanted to take profit would be right around this 26.84, and what I actually ended up doing is right around this candle, right around the middle of this wick, I actually went ahead and took some profit because I saw that momentum going back up. If you go back in history of this, you know, the last couple of days on the 15-minute, you'll notice every time we get a sell, sometimes the sell lasts a lot longer than you would expect, and sometimes it doesn't last very long. But what you will notice is it'll start following some of these support and resistance lines before we get another buy signal. So that's why I use this other indicator. I look for patterns of how long did the sell actually last before we got another buy signal. And that's another way I look for exiting a short or a buy. In this case, I would have looked for the buy signal and see, like in the past, how long did a buy actually last, and I would look at these key support and resistance lines. Depending on how long I want to be in the trade, I would take profits along the way. So right now, even though we're negative, all signs are telling me that this sell and this short should last a little longer, and we should at least get close to this this line here at 26.84, where we can take more profit. So what I'll probably do is, if it does trend back down, I'll probably take a little more off of the table, maybe another 25%, and see if it continues down. If it continues down further, then the next line that I'm going to look to take profit is probably right here, where there could be a little bit of support. You see these, like these little tops and these little bottoms along the way. I may go ahead and take a little more profit here and draw myself another line, even though Market Cypher is suggesting that the next band of support is down at 25.25. For scalp trading, you want to take profits all the way down. So you want to identify little peaks and valleys where, you know, in the past it looks like it would be a good time to take a little more profit, just in case it turns and goes back up, because it's not guaranteed that it's going to follow that same pattern. So the other thing that I haven't talked about is the Wolfpack indicator. It is another validation on the sell signal. If you notice, we got a sell here. I entered the trade right around here. This Wolfpack indicator was way below the zero line, and it was red, and it was also this momentum wave was trending down. I had the sell signal, I had the VWAP, all in my favor to suggest that, hey, we're going to have a good sell off for a little bit, be a good time to take a short position on, in this case, Ethereum. So I hope that's helpful. I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to articulate some of these strategies to you guys. Please ask questions if you have any. I'll try to answer them and pay attention to notifications. Otherwise, give it a try. Be careful. Come up with your own strategy based on some of the things I was talking about. You know, if you lose money, if you make money, that's all your fault. So if you do really well, that's your fault too. I just hope that some of this strategy and theoretical thinking makes us all profitable. I've definitely learned a lot by losing a lot over the last couple of months. So I'm hoping, like, sticking to something like this, not getting emotional, really watch your indicators and stick to your plan. The other thing, real quick before we go, that I didn't talk about is setting the stop loss. So in my case, I don't do that very often, but I am going to change my strategy on that. My stop loss, you want to set it above the area where this short actually confirmed. So right just above the VWAP, just above where that last candle closed that you actually entered your trade. In my case, let me flip back over here. I am setting a stop loss at 28.07, which is a pretty big loss. However, it's better than losing everything. So you want to have a stop loss. You want to put a stop loss that you're comfortable with. If you get stopped out, that's okay. It happens. At least you maybe had taken some profits along the way. You'll get them next time. But more often than not, you don't hit your stop loss. The only times you really hit your stop loss is maybe you didn't get a good entry, maybe there was some market manipulation. Those things happen. You want to be prepared and do good risk management. So think about your stop losses. Make sure that they are, within a good range where you won't get stopped out right away. For example, my stop loss is a 20% loss on my entry. That's a pretty big stop loss in my opinion. You want to try to get closer to like a 5 to 10%. The reason mine is so big of a loss right now is because I could have caught my entry point a little sooner, and I just don't want, I want to give it plenty of room to get back into profit. So I was worried if I set my stop loss lower, and sorry, there's somebody outside of my door trimming the hedges. But anyway, I'm not going to edit that out because I'm almost done anyway. But really think about your stop loss. Try to get your stop loss within like 5 to 10%. And then as soon as you're in profit, move your stop loss into profit. That way you're always going to make something. So as soon as I'm back in profit a pretty good bit, I'm going to move my stop loss. So that's another thing you need to pay attention to. Always, always, always have a stop loss when you're scalp trading. If you hit it, no big deal. All right, thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.